Hello and welcome to Hamer Reviews. My name is Christopher Hamer and today we are unboxing this rather large box, which is the Amaran 200X by Aputure. Now if you don't know them, Aputure makes a whole load of lighting and other accessories for photographers and videographers. They're very well regarded and they make some amazingly high quality gear. The 200X under their Amaran line is actually a budget version of some of their greatest lights. So this actually has the power of the 300X, which costs well over £1,000, whereas this just costs over 350. But I thought I'd do a little bit of a video to discuss the differences in the series that they've launched of these lights and tell you what's in the box and my initial impressions, because I have had some time with this already. So the 200X is part of a series of 4 lights. So you've got the 100D, which is daylight only, so 5600 Kelvin. You've got the 100X, which is bi-color, and that's 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. Then you've got the 200D, which is a higher powered version of the 100D, which again is fixed at 5600 Kelvin. And you've got the 200X, which we have here, which is bi-color again, also 2700 to 6500 Kelvin, and is the higher powered variant of the 100X. In terms of price, they range from around £200 to £350 for this version. And as I said, this has the light output of the LightStorm 300X, which is a heck of a lot more expensive and also a lot larger. So I'm really interested to see what the differences are in terms of size and so on, also whether this performs. So let's get into the unboxing and have a look what's inside. If I can get this rather, it must be say, sturdy box open. We are greeted by some stickers. You have some Aputure stickers and you also have the Amaran 200X product guide and manual. Then we've got some rather thick foam. Just going to pop that down there. And we're going to move through this box from right to left so we can see what's inside it. So on the far right hand side, we have an initial slot, which has the power adapter. Now the power adapter here is 250 watts at 48 volts, so quite a chunky high-powered device, which makes sense given how much power this light can put out. It's got a nice yellow connector here, almost looks like an XLR connector that locks, which is good, has a yellow ring on it so you know what it is. Also, actually nice touch, you have a braided metal cable attached as well, presumably so you can hang this off a light stand and take the strain off the cable. So that's a nice little touch there. Next up, yes, the new and improved hyper reflector with again a large amount of foam inside it. So the hyper reflector is obviously the reflector for this light. I think it's the new series that Aputure recently launched. So looks very good. Actually, I have had some time with this and it does its job very well. Produces a really nice strong light source. Doesn't come with a diffuser, which some of the other lights I've had do, but overall looks really good and is solid metal construction, which is always good. Presumably it's going to get quite hot during operation. Next we have the main event. So we have the actual 200X here. It is a solid plastic construction, so this is not metal. It's not as well made perhaps, or at least it doesn't feel as high quality as some of the other Aputure products I've had the pleasure of seeing, though I don't own any other Aputure lights. Yeah, this looks pretty good. You've got a screen on the back, 2 dials. You obviously have the yellow connector there, so it shows you where the power goes in. You also have an on-off switch, always nice to have a dedicated on-off switch. A plastic screw mount for the studio light mount, but actually looking at that is metal on the inside, so this is actually going to be quite strong, I would assume. You have a cover on the front, which is covering the LED lights, but that looks very good there. Also interesting to see they actually have a piece of glass, I assume, or might be high quality plastic, protecting the LED lights. Now that's a nice touch. On some of the lights I have, that doesn't have that, and if you touch them you can actually cause damage from the oil on your fingers and then basically burning off on top of the LED lights. So good to see that there's protection on there. And it's a standard Bowens S mount connection, which is good, which means all your accessories will fit, and it's nice to have that strong plastic cover on there as well for storage. Lastly, I just want to point out this actually has a really nice feature where it actually has an umbrella mount on it as well, with a nice screw mount there, which is metal, interesting enough. So always good to have that and have the ability to put an umbrella on there on your lights if you wanted to. But overall, although it is plastic, it does feel chunky. There's a huge heat sink in there with the fan that you can see as well. So overall, this does look pretty good. And last but not least, we have the standard sort of kettle power connector. Though interestingly on this one, it comes with a nice cable tie, which is always good. This actual connector locks as well. And I actually haven't seen a locking kettle style connector before. So it's a nice touch actually by Aputure to include this, which means this is a custom cable. So well done on Aputure for including that even with a cheaper light. That is all in terms of what's inside the box. So I'm just going to put that box away a bit more loudly than I wanted to. So now we've got rid of the box. We have here the contents of it. And I think it's fair to say it's fairly sparse. It's not like you're getting a whole load of accessories. The box is very well made, and I have a theory as to why. I think it's because they're not including a carry case, so they actually think that people might use that to carry their light around in. It's definitely not too big, which is good. And I can actually see it lasting for a fair while if that's what you want to use it for. Personally, I wouldn't. I'd buy a specific case for it if I knew I was going to be traveling with this. And to be completely honest, I don't mean to be unkind, but I do wonder whether if you're actually traveling from location to location, you have regular videography work, are you really going to be buying the budget light? Unless weight is an issue, because this is fairly light for an LED light, then I would assume that you might end up buying something like the LS300X instead. But that's not to say that this light isn't fantastic. I was blown away by the sheer amount of light this can produce. It is very impressive. I was also very impressed with the app that you can use with this light to create effects and so on. I think it's called Sidious Link. So overall, Amaran actually hasn't skimped this. You can't use a infrared remote with this. The previous Aputure remotes will not work, but the inclusion of Bluetooth and a free Bluetooth app, which allows you to even use effects and so on, is very cool. So I actually think that it's actually a really impressive light for the money. I am going to leave the unboxing here. I'm going to do a full review on the Amaran 200X in due course. So I hope you found this little video useful. If you have any questions about the Amaran 200X, pop them in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, though the other button works fine if you didn't. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe, as it really helps and I do really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope I see you again next time. Goodbye.